Hello everyone, I am going to solve session 2 questions of GATE Mechanical asked in GATE 2019. Okay, the first question. Consider a linear elastic rectangular thin sheet of metal subjected to uniform uniaxial tensile stress of 100 MPa along the length direction. Assume plane stress condition in the plane normal to the thickness. Okay, the Young modulus E is 200 MPa and present ratio is 0.3. The principal strains in the plane of the sheet are, basically it is asking about what is the amount of a strain in the two directions, because it is a plane stress condition. So there is a uniform uniaxial tension which is of 100 MPa, right? And here plane stress condition is given. Okay, fine. The Young modulus is that is right, it is 200 MPa, right? So whenever there is a stress which is acting in one direction, then what will be here? There will be elongation, right? And here it will be contraction. Okay, so since here will be contraction and here will be expansion, but in the direction which is just normal to this, the thickness is assumed to be very low. That's why it is called as a plane. That's why there is no stress in the this direction, in the z direction. Okay, so we'll find first. Let us assume this one x and this direction is y. Okay, so what will be the strain in x direction? We'll use the formula sigma equal to elastic modulus into strain. Okay, fine. So sigma epsilon in x direction will be sigma x by E. So how much is sigma x direction? It is 100 divided by this 200, that means it is 0.5, right? This formula comes from the Hooke's law, right? Now when we have to find the contraction in the y direction, then we know that contraction in y direction is related to negative or present ratio to the strain in the x direction, right? So this is also a formula. So we will use this formula. So minus present ratio is 0.3 into this is 0.5, right? So minus 0.15. Fine. So that means the plane strains will be 0.5 in x direction and minus 0.15 in y direction. So which is your correct option? Here option C is your correct answer, right? So this is the method to solve. Now next question. For a simple compressible system, V, S, P and T are specific volume, specific entropic, pressure and temperature, okay, respectively, as per the Maxwell's relation. Delta V by delta S at constant P is equal to, right? So guys, here you will have to look at all the four Maxwell equations which you have. Okay, now if you see the Maxwell equation, then I am going to write all the Maxwell equation. First one is the dU is equal to TdS minus PdV. Okay, second one. Okay, fine. So these are the four Maxwell equations we have. So here in the question it is asking about delta V by delta S at constant P, right? We know that something, if equation is something like this, mx plus and dy, then we know delta m by delta y at constant x is equal to delta n by delta x at constant y. Okay, so this m term will be divided by this dy, right? So guys, try to find here, since here it is the v term is getting divided by this delta s, right? So it can be the equation can be such that the v should be in the free form here, right? So it can come from here and here, okay? But in the next case it has been divided by delta s, right? So where is delta s? So here is the ds. So from here you can assume that the only equation which will be used here is this one. So we will use this equation, right? So that means it will be delta v by, will divide this v by, divide this v by delta s, and here dp is there, and that's why here it is asking about the constant pressure. So it will be p. So this will be divided by this temperature term will be divided by delta p, delta T by delta P, and what will be the constant? Constant will be entropy, right? So you will use this equation and you will solve this one. Okay, so delta T by delta P at constant pressure. So which is the option? You can find here, match the option. Oh, okay, it is option D. Okay, now let us move. Next question. Hardenability of a steel is a measure of the ability to harden when it is cold work, the maximum hardness that can be obtained when it is austenite and then quenched. Okay, the first one, the ability to harden when it is cold work. No, this is called as basically work hardening. Okay, the maximum hardness that can be obtained when it is austenite and then quenched. So basically this comes under the quenching method. Okay, so this is not the correct definition of hardenability. The depth to which required hardening is obtained when it is austenite and then quenched. Yeah, this is the correct answer, because if you see the method to find the hardenability is Jominy and quench test, right? So where we take a heated sample and we spray water. So what happens? We check the depth, yeah, because here it will be quenched. We check the depth up to what distance basically the hardness is such that there is certain amount of hardness that we can assume it as RC 45, something like this. Okay, so some kind of hardness up to what distance it has reached. Okay, similarly what happens, this is a diameter basically. So whenever we will do hardening of a cylinder case, so when we do spray water over the surface, then hardness will decrease from the surface, right? So it will decrease something like this. Okay, so we will take a certain value that will define the hardenability, basically the amount of hardness to what distance it is, means what is the depth at which this hardness has been obtained. That is the measure of hardenability, right? Suppose a material which has got depth higher, the depth is higher, that means the material is more hardenable. Okay, if depth is low, then it is low hardenable. Okay, so option C. Let us see option D, the ability to retain its hardness when it is heated to elevated temperature. No, this is also not the correct answer. Let us move. The fluidity of molten metal of cast alloys without any addition of fluxes increases with increasing viscosity. No. When we increase the viscosity, the friction between them increases. Surface tension. No, because again when we increase the surface tension, then the flowability is decreased. Freezing range. No, because whenever there is large freezing range, then the amount of solid which is present in that solidification range becomes higher. When it becomes higher, the fluidity is compromised, right? Degree of superheat. Yeah, degree of superheat, because degree of superheat basically called as the temperature above the melting point. Suppose there is a melting point, this one, but you take temperature to this, that means T minus melting point. This is the degree of superheat. If this gap will increase, that means the molten liquid which will be there at higher temperature, that's why the fluidity will be enhanced. Okay, so degree of superheat. Now let us move to next question. The state of stress at a point in a component is represented by a Mohr circle of radius 100 MPa centered at 200 MPa on the normal stress axis on a plane passing through the same point. Okay, the normal stress is 260 MPa. Okay, the magnitude of the shear stress on the same plane at the same point is. Okay, so now let us draw this Mohr circle. The state of stress at a point in a component is represented by a Mohr circle of radius 100 MPa. Suppose the radius is of 100 MPa. Right, this is of 100 MPa, right, and centered at 200 MPa. So this complete value is 200 MPa. This means this distance is 100 MPa, right? Okay guys, so you can see here this is 200 MPa, right? And here in the question it is asking about a plane which has got a normal stress of 260 MPa, right? We have the normal stresses like sigma x and sigma y. Suppose sigma x, it has got 260 MPa, right? Then this plane will be at a certain angle relative to the initial plane condition. Okay, we don't know the angle, but we know that the normal stress is 260 MPa. So we'll see here that this value is 200. So here there will be one more value, that is 60 MPa, and correspondingly you will have to take the value at this circle. Okay, so basically this line will represent the plane, okay, where the sigma x value, and this is your sigma x here, that is 260 MPa, and correspondingly other normal stress sigma y will be of some value, but let us not bother about it. Here it is asking about the shear stress. Okay, so guys, if you see this triangle A, B and C, right, A, B and C, this is 90 degree and this value is how much? 60. Okay, because complete this complete length is 260, so this will be how much? 60. So 60, and this is the tau which we have to calculate, right? And what is the radius of this? Radius we know it is 100 MPa, right? So this is a right angle triangle, so we will use the formula 100 square is equal to 60 square plus tau square. This implies tau square equal to if you do the calculation, so it will be 80. So tau will be 80. So tau is 80 ampere. That means the shear stress is how much? 80 ampere. Okay, so the answer will be 80. Fine. Now let us move. The binary phase diagram of metals P and Q. Here is metal P and here is metal Q. Is shown in the figure. An alloy X containing 60% P. Okay, there is one alloy X which is over here. It contains 60% of P and 40% of Q. This is the increase of percentage of Q. Okay, fine. So it has got 40% of Q. Is cooled from liquid to solid state. The fraction of solid and liquid in weight percent at 1250 degrees centigrade. So this is 1250, and at 1250 degrees centigrade, the alloy is in the middle portion of this liquid and the solid, right? So this will contain both solid and the liquid, right? So it will contain liquid plus solid. Here is the liquid and here is the solid. Fine. Now, so we'll use this tie line A, B and let it be O. Fine. So in the left hand side we have got liquid. So percentage of liquid will be, here it is asking about the fraction of solid and liquid, right? So first we will find percentage of solid. So percentage of solid will be given by, here in this side it will be solid, so we'll take in the left hand side, that is OA divided by AB into 100, right? So OA will be how much? It is 40. At this point it is 40 minus 32 divided by 68 minus 32 into 100. The answer is in percentage, right? So we will calculate in percentage. So do the calculation. It is 22.22. So how much will be percentage liquid? It will be 100 minus percentage solid. That means 100 minus 22.22. That will be 77.8% approximately. Right? So what should be the correct answer? The percentage solid, we know it is 22.22, right? So the correct answer will be answer B. Fine. Now let us move to next question. The figure shows a pouring arrangement for casting of a metal block. Frictional losses are negligible. The acceleration due to gravity is 9.81 meter per second square. The time in second round off to 2 decimal places to fill up the mold cavity of size. This is the mold cavity. It has got size 40 into 30 into 15 centimeter. Okay, and this is the pouring basin, right? Here the molten metal is poured and it flows through this sprue basically. Okay, so we need to find the time to calculate. So first we'll find the volume of this mold cavity. How much it will be? It will be 40 into 15 into 30. Fine. And here when this liquid is passing to this mold, then what is the flow rate? So to calculate the flow rate, we'll first try to know the velocity, right? So velocity will be given by root under 2 gs. So this implies 2 and g it is given in meter per second square, right? So we will convert it into centimeter per second square. So 9.81 into 100, fine, into height. What is the height here? It is given here, it is 20 centimeter. So let us write 20. Okay, so this will be your velocity. Now this complete liquid will pass through this area, right? So what will be the area here? Area at location 3, it will be pi r square, fine. So 3.14, what is the radius over here? It has got the diameter of 2 centimeter square, 2 centimeter. So radius will be how much? 1 centimeter square. So 1. Okay, fine. So 1 square. So the time taken equal to the total volume to be filled divided by the volume flow rate. Okay. So here volume is 40 into 15 into 30 divided by this volume flow rate. It is nothing but area into velocity, right? That is a1 v1. So basically we will multiply the velocity with area. So root under 2 into 9.81 into 100 into 20 into 3.14. Now let us calculate this one. So if you do the calculation, it will be 28.93. So this will be in second, right? So the correct answer here is 28.93 second. Okay guys, so thank you all. Hope this will help you in your GATE preparation.